Hello!
Hi, guys!
Welcome to Fridays with Friends. We are so excited. It's been a little while since it's been
I know! I've missed you.
We've had so many guests on, and we've gotten some great feedback on. So thank you all so much for tuning in and for loving on all the guests that we've brought on. It's been great.
It's been really fun.
So Friday with Friends is our opportunity to talk about what is going on in the market so that if you or anyone you know has any questions, has any real estate needs, we'll be able to be here to serve you. So we love what we do, and today what we are going to be talking about is the top mistakes that we see buyers making. And a lot of times people say, you know, oh, well, duh, that's common sense. Like, as we get through it, I think you're going to see, like, these are very, like, natural mistakes that people don't even see coming. And they're like, well, I wouldn't think that that would make a difference, but it totally does. And because we've been around the block a time or two, that's what we're here to help with. And this actually came about from our buyer's seminar.
Right. So yeah, we had a buyer's seminar with the Rochester Young Professionals.
We did. It was
RYP.
awesome.
Shout out. It was great. What was it, a week or two ago?
Yeah.
And we had a great turnout, and one of the people at the event, one of the potential buyers said, you know, what are common mistakes that you see buyers make? And it really, you know, made us step back and think, what are those? Because our team communication is so important.
Yes.
And so we try and think of the problems before they even arise.
Mm-hmm.
So that was something for us to really take a step back and say, what are the common mistakes or common questions that could have been mistakes that we try and take care of before it happens?
Great point. So that's what we're going to get into today.
Perfect.
All right. So
we don't have a countdown today, but we've got a lot of really great things to talk about.
Mm-hmm. And some things that if you know of anyone that's looking to buy, send this to them so we can make sure that they get these too, so that they're thinking about these ahead of time.
Perfect.
So let's talk about, we're going to start from the beginning. So someone who's just getting started in the process, Abby, what would you say the common pitfalls are in that early phase?
Yep. So one thing that we see is the common question is when is it too early to start? And so a common mistake is people not starting early enough. And there's a lot of things that go into that. But as you know, we've said it a zillion times on our Friday with Friends, is it's never too early to start, because there's so many things that go into getting qualified, looking at houses, buying houses, all of that good stuff, that really getting started is the first thing and it's most important.
And most of the time people do it because, like, oh, I don't want to bug my realtor. Oh, I don't want to bug that. I don't want to get my credit pulled. I don't want to do all those things. But we will be the first ones to tell you, yeah, 2025, we're a little early. You know, like, we're going to be the first to tell you that, but engaging in the conversation is the best way to start. The main reason why too, well, there's so many reasons, but one, we talk about credit so often. So I tell this story that I thought that my credit was, like, phenomenal. I pay everything on time. Well, let me share a little personal anecdote. My husband and I, we run our businesses through credit cards. And what we do is we pay it off at the end of every month.
Yep.
Well, apparently when our credit was being pulled at a certain time of month, our credit cards looked like they were at max capacity every single month. So we kept having our credit get hit. So we go to try to apply for a loan, and they're like, you know, your credit's struggling. And I was like, my identity's been
We were raised by a banker.
Yes, yes, we've worked really, really hard on that. So even if you think your credit is great, starting out just to make sure you're in that conversation to say, it's good, I'm confident, and your credit is not going to get hammered so much, and we'll make sure we connect you with the right people so it won't. But it's not going to be impacted negatively. That starting out in your finances early is so important, especially for your credit.
Right. And because then you know the appropriate steps to take. You know, some people might not even know what their credit is.
So all I did was I started paying off. Instead of paying off at the end of the month, I pay on the 1st and the 15th, and the 1st and the 15th. And just that made it so that my credit improved.
Right. So if you are, you know, looking to buy a house in 2 months, we might not have that time to, you know, increase your credit or whatever it might be. So,
hi, Megan. Hi, Anna. Hi, Kara. Hi, Steve. Hi, Fegan. Hi, Courtney. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Okay, keep going.
Okay. Yeah, gosh.
Sorry.
I'm just kidding.
I just got so excited. Hi, Debbie.
Hi, everyone. Hi, Debbie. So, yes, it's super important because, you know, when it comes to credit and finances, it's unfortunately not something that can change overnight. So really starting that nice and early, so if there are any adjustments that we need to make, we have time to do that. Mm-hmm. So that's really important when it comes down to, not only is it important to start talking with your agent early and having those conversations, but starting the finances and understanding the financing side as well, which includes credit.
Yes. So when it comes more to finances too, this is the time that we want you to start looking at grants. People automatically, a big mistake we see is that people automatically think there are no grants that they have available to them. We've been working really closely with Pat Stones and Mary Leo, who is just phenomenal over there, and she's telling me about these grants that half the time we don't even know are an option. So we're just starting to funnel all of our buyers to say, make sure you're exploring these options because they're very, very neat. And the key, guys, if you don't start those grants early on, you cannot apply them later on. If you've written a contract, it's too late to get those grants. So we want to start those conversations early on.
Right. And it's never a bad idea with grants. Some people say, well, oh, I don't live in the city, or I, make X amount of dollars, or whatever it might be. But there's so many grants out there where, again, and you sometimes need that time to apply for them. So again, never too early to start. Another thing that we see with the finances is that buyers get a pre-approval letter and they don't really know what that means.
Yes.
And so breaking down the numbers, again, educating yourself is so important, because some people say, okay, I'm qualified for $150,000, but what does that mean?
Yeah.
What I care about is, what do I need to bring to closing and what do I have to pay monthly? 150 is this great number, but what does it mean? And that's so important, is that buyers say, well, great, I'm qualified, but they don't really understand the numbers.
Right. Or they get qualified for 150, but when they actually look at those numbers, they realize, I don't want that for a monthly payment, or that's too much. And when you're starting early on, you can say, yeah, okay, $1,000 a month, that's good. Okay, $1,500 a month, that's good. Okay, $2,000. What is that barrier? And you're gonna have some time to process that, and that's so important.
Yeah, that's really, really important.
Hi, Patty. Hi, Mallory. Thanks for tuning in, guys. So I think the last thing in the finances, a lot of times we see people when we talk about the future. We have the classic. Do I buy my first home, or do I stretch to buy my second?
And that was you. That was our House Hunters episode.
This was our House Hunters episode. And it's to make sure that you're really clear on what your future finances will look like. We have people that rely on a promotion. We have people that do that. Really make sure that you're setting yourself up so that if something does change, or if you do not get that promotion, that you're still okay.
Yeah.
Because we don't want this house to be something that's going to be really heavy and have a really negative impact on you. We want to set you up for success. And when we have that time to start early, the finances, getting all this stuff around finances is huge, and there are mistakes that people have made in the past that's why we're sharing with you today.
For sure. So I think that covers most of the finances.
Finances are getting started. Okay, what's next?
Yep, so I think that's perfect. An overall arching theme so far is really educating yourself throughout the process on those finances. Asking questions is so important, and also just making sure that it's never too early to start. Always reach out to us. We'll connect you with our loan officers, vice versa, and we'll keep you posted every step of the way and educate, which is so important. So then the next thing that we see happens a lot, a common mistake for our buyers, is when they're in a rental situation.
Yes.
And maybe they are in a rental until December, but they're really ready to buy. And that rental is the one thing that's holding them, because why pay rent for 6 months and your mortgage? That's just silly. But a common mistake is that buyers don't ask their landlord.
Yes.
Because it could be just a simple question where they say, yeah, if you can, if I can find someone else, I can let you out of your lease, or vice versa.
Yeah. We've even had situations where, because we were talking with the client and they said, listen, I want to start right away, but I'm stuck in this lease, we've had encouraged them to ask their landlord, and the landlord is like, I've got someone that wants to move in whenever, so whenever you're ready to go, give me 30 days, and hey, we can give them that kind of notice. And it was just, it opened up their world, and it was way more convenient for them, because, so you have to think like a landlord. If your lease expires in December, they don't want someone moving, they don't want to have to find a tenant in December, January. They want to find it either in the spring or before school starts, which is typically what we find around here. But yeah, they don't ask. They don't ask.
You're talking so fast. I'm like, even I am, and I talk fast. Sorry, you did a great job. But yes, I think the rental is just this thing that sometimes buyers say, well, gosh, I've got to wait until my lease is up. But it's not always the case. Simply just ask, hey, maybe there's even a fee.
Yes.
That you say, okay, for $100, I don't know what the fee is. That's a guess. But I could get out of my lease. And for someone that could be, just such an easy way out, and it could get them into their new house even sooner.
So don't be afraid to ask. If you're in a rental situation, don't be afraid to ask.
Exactly. Okay, perfect.
So then in terms of the logistics, so we're still in this early phase. What are some of the mistakes that people are making prior to, beginning the process? And the last thing's kind of a logistical thing. And this comes from an agent's perspective. And that so often a buyer, what you're doing is you might be getting into open houses. You haven't really had an agent that you've hired to work with you yet. And you can get into an open house and there's an agent there, and all of a sudden you feel like you might be in a relationship with them where they're representing you. Guys, buyers, it is okay to interview agents. A big mistake is we get people who think that they're tied to an agent and they're like, I don't know if it fits, but they're already helping me show houses. It is normal to interview. Now, we personally believe
we're not biased.
Once you interview us, you'll be happy. But what it just means is make sure it's someone that's a good fit for you. If you feel like it's not working out, don't be afraid to say something. Don't be afraid to say, hey, listen, I really like when you communicate this way. Or, hey, I don't feel like I'm getting the service that I need. Don't be afraid to speak up, because this is a really big decision that you're going to be heavily involved in communicating with this agent for a long time. Don't be afraid to interview.
Exactly. It's never a bad idea to see what else is out there, make sure it's a good fit, or simply just start the conversation with your agent about what you like or might not like.
Exactly. As agents, we are here to work for you. If you are not happy, we are not doing a good job.
Yes.
So don't hesitate to do that.
For sure. Okay, perfect. So let's say I'm a buyer, we're qualified, we're ready to go, we've started the process. What is a common mistake that we see with buyers once they've begun maybe looking at houses or going out there and starting the home buying process?
Well, the biggest thing is that, especially in today's market, that buyers are falling in love with the first home that they see, and that's making them panic.
Right.
Because they're like, this is my first home. But
I can't like it this quick.
Yes, it's going to be this easy. But here's the reality, guys. If we've done all the work, as I imagine you probably have, we always ask, how many homes have you seen on Zillow? How many open houses?
Point.
You've actually seen probably hundreds of houses. To my late night surfers of going through houses, like, you have seen so many that you're finally like, this is what I want. So sometimes there's a hesitation where buyers say, I can't put an offer on this house. This is the first house that I've seen. And we try to say, if that happens, it's okay. Remember, this isn't the first house you've seen. Yes, this may be the first one that you've walked into and we've scheduled a private showing for, but it's okay.
But how many open houses and things online have you seen? How many houses did you look at before you bought yours?
A lot.
You did? Well, that's Eddie's.
That's Eddie.
That's her husband.
Yeah.
But I looked at, I think, like, you looked at it like 2 or 3.
Yeah.
Because you look at so many online. Yeah.
In person? Oh, yeah, we didn't. And I'm even in real estate. Because I know what I wanted, right?
Yeah.
I knew what I wanted. I wasn't going to walk into a house that I wouldn't like. And it was like my wedding dress. It was like the first dress I tried on.
That's what everyone always says.
It's okay. I know what I want. So when I walk into the house, it's going to be that one.
Yep, there you go.
Or it's not, and that's okay too.
Yes.
But that's the mistake.
Yes.
The second mistake, I would say, it has to do with criteria.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people, they think they might know what they want. They have a good idea. I need X, Y, and Z. But then when they get into a house, that might not be the case. And what we find is a lot of buyers are closing off their searches and their criteria based off something that they might not be 100% certain on. I know we see this a ton with like styles of houses.
Yes.
I know personally, I was like, I do not want a ranch. Not going to do it.
What are you living in right now, Abs?
So I bought a ranch. And now I love it because I'm on one floor. I can go brush my teeth and go to the kitchen, and I'm not doing stairs every day. So I think there's definitely a lot of things. I know we had that one buyer who was like, I'm never going to live in a split level. Don't bring it to me. I don't want to see it. And then they went in one, and the stairs were placed differently, and they're like, okay, let's get it. And they love it. So
literally, it was the only thing they didn't want.
Yeah. So I think or it could be like a formal dining space. I need this space. And then when you look at a house, this room could work for that. So it's just not, completely blocking your search off and making sure you keep it as open as possible, because when you get in a house, it really makes a huge difference.
And especially in this market, we do have a lot of our clients right now who are like, I want this, I want this. Well, hey, in this market, it's a seller's market. And as buyers, we don't have a whole heck of a lot to choose from. So we try to, hi, Carrie. Hey, everyone that's tuned in. Hi, Kristen. Hi, Bill. Thanks, guys, for hopping on. Feel free to comment on any other thoughts you have too, Carrie. We'd love to hear them. But basically, it's how can you expand your criteria a little bit where you're not getting a house you don't want, but we're not closing off that criteria, so you're not seeing all of the houses that you can get.
Yeah, we see this with like bathrooms too. You know, people say, "Oh, I need 2 full baths," and we say, "Well, what if there was, you know, a half bath and only 1 shower or whatever it might be?" And they're like, "Oh, yeah, that would work." Yeah. So there's lots of different criterias out there that we see. A lot of buyers, they know what they want, but then when they get into a house, it changes. So just keeping it as broad as possible.
And then when we challenge you on it to say, is this really what you want? When you're like, yes, it is. Then we're like, good, we made progress.
Yeah.
So it's just really understanding that criteria. So that's a big mistake. And I think the last one kind of in this process, and we see this a lot with our first time home buyers, that they're like, okay, we have a showing set up on 123 Main Street. Mom, Dad, Uncle Larry, Aunt Sue, do you guys all want to come for the party? And sometimes
sisters are allowed.
Sisters are mandatory. But you make sure who you're bringing along with you, especially in those early showings. Yep. You're being mindful so that they're not being like, oh, you would love this, Sally. You would love this. When like, Mom, that's not what I want. So make sure that you're really thinking about who you're bringing along with you to make sure that you're not overwhelming yourself and you're not kind of influencing what you actually do like.
Right. And there's a time and a place for that. 100%. You know, what we typically recommend is, you know, you looking at the house originally, going through those initial showings, and once you want to set up a second showing, or maybe you're under contract going to the inspection, that's the opportunity to bring
dads
friends.
Always love the inspection.
Yeah, dads do love the inspection. They do. So that's the opportunity to maybe bring those extra people through, but it can be super overwhelming when you're looking at houses for the first time, because you say, well, is this my opinion or your opinion? How do I feel? It gets confusing.
Yes,
for sure.
So those are kind of the pieces that we talked about, whether you're in the process once it's begun, is to be okay if it's the first house you've seen, to make sure that your criteria is the right criteria, it's broad enough for you to not close up, to not turn things away that you don't even know you might not like yet. And then the last thing, wow, that was good.
That was good.
And then the last thing is just to make sure the people that you're bringing along with you is allowing you to really decide what you like and to not have too many other ideas influence you.
Perfect.
All right, so what's the last section?
Let's go into the fun part. This one we're under contract. You've done all of the things ahead of this. We've gotten to the point where we are under contract. And really the next step once you're under contract is getting your inspection done.
Yes.
And this is one thing that we find with some buyers is what am I able to ask for at an inspection? Because once an inspection is complete, you can either say, yes, I want this house. Yes, I want this house, but with these repairs, or, no, I don't.
Something came up really
Something came up. So what are some of the things that we should be looking for versus some of the other things that maybe we shouldn't?
Exactly. So ultimately the mistake is we have buyers who walk into a house during the inspection and are like, oh, let me look at all the cracked tile. Let me try to find these cosmetic issues. And that's why within our team, we've made it very clear, hey guys, when we're going through inspection, here are the things that we're looking for. And this has to be managed way earlier. This has to be managed when we're at the showing before we even write an offer. But to make sure you know when you're at the inspection, what are the things that are important? And to say, this inspector's job is going to teach you how to operate this house. So we really encourage buyers like how to turn on the water pump, where are the emergency valves, all of those conversations that are so important to take advantage of during the inspection.
For sure. And when you're walking through the house with your agent too, you should be looking at maybe some of those cosmetic things as well. How is the flooring, all of those different things, making sure that you're looking at those cosmetic things that you might want adjusted so it doesn't blind you a little bit when you are at the inspection. But really our goal is to keep it to items that are maybe were misrepresented when you went into the house the first time. If there's any leaking spots, we like to say, and also anything that's just simply non-functioning. The biggest thing though is any safety concerns.
Yes. So we really make sure that those expectations are managed, that you really understand the value of the inspection, and that's a huge piece that sometimes buyers are missing, that we want to make sure that they understand the value of.
Perfect. Another one that a lot of people, it's going to be one of those ones that you said in the beginning where it's like, well, duh, but it happens, and it's something that we see is once a buyer is under contract, they make changes to their financial landscape, let's say.
Yes.
You know, they might be opening up credit cards or financing like furniture.
Yeah,
is
they just
common.
got this beautiful house and they're like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to get furniture.
Yeah.
And then they go and they open up a credit card and it's like, I see where your heart is.
Right. And the problem is that adjusts your credit score, and then
Your debt to income ratio.
debt to income, any of those things, and that will then ultimately affect your ability to get approved and get a mortgage. And it's funny though, because those furniture stores are tricky.
Yes.
I remember I went and bought my couch and they're like, do you want to finance it for 0% down? We'll actually like give you money if you do. And you're like, well, okay. And then I'm like, no, Abby, you know, they're a little tricky.
And really, the mistake is that you don't ask your loan officer prior to doing those things. So you still can. We even had someone with finances where they changed jobs.
That's a good
And
one too.
it's just important, and they went from a salaried position to a commission-based job. So just make sure that in anything that you're doing financially, the biggest mistake we've seen when someone's under contract is going through and missing the little changes that you think might be little and might not be important, but your loan officer is like, that's going to make a difference.
Yes.
Or they're going to say, you're good, go for it, open that card, but make sure that conversation happens first.
Always ask those questions. For sure. And then another common mistake that we see buyers make is that they're really relying on that closing date that was discussed in the contract.
Yes.
And that's huge because there's a lot that goes into scheduling closing, and unfortunately we don't really know the exact day, time, location until we get much closer. That day that we put in the contract is really an on or about day.
Yeah, we call it a baby due date. Which, if you are my children, you don't listen to at all. But the point of the baby due date is that we don't know. We have a target close date, and this has been one of the things. If anyone's worked with us, you know how we handle the closing dates. Is we literally say they are target. It is on or about. As we get closer, we'll be able to nail it down. But mistakes from other situations is they've ordered moving vans. They've created a Facebook event where they've like set everything up for this day 2 months prior, like after they first wrote the offer.
Right.
So it's managing those expectations to know, hey guys, we're not going to know that closing date. Sometimes within a week, maybe even less time to know exactly what day that is, and that you're not making plans around it.
Right. That's really definitely important because it's tough. You know, you're so excited.
Yes.
And you want to schedule
and even people schedule painters. Like, well, I have painters to come. I'm like, okay, not yet.
Yeah, not yet. It's so hard. Or you take off work. You know, you do. Your family comes into town. There's so much that goes into it, and I know it's so hard. But just having those communications with your agents, with the bank, everything like that, so you know a timeline. But unfortunately, being in New York State and having attorneys and things like that, things come up, and you want to make sure that you're prepared for that.
Exactly. I love it. Okay,
Awesome.
guys. So do you see how these mistakes are like so simple to make? They're simple. It goes through all of the time. We see these buyers making these mistakes that may make that process a little bit more challenging for them. That may make a little bit more stressful. And so by having these things, by knowing going in, we want to share these with you, our potential future buyers, so that you can see these potential warning signs before they happen, and also help us by sharing. Tell other people about these. Help us by sharing this video. Let people watch this so that they can see for their own how we can really make sure that our goal is to make this not only seamless but hopefully enjoyable at this time. And we just want to make sure that all these common pitfalls are avoided, and we do that through extra communication.
For sure. That's exactly what I was going to say. Communication is always the key to make it as smooth as possible. But these are, some mistakes that we see pop up here and there, and you want to make sure that you're communicating so these don't happen.
I love it. I love it.
Sure.
Well, thank you for tuning in.
Thanks, guys.
Friday with Friends. Friday with Friends is our opportunity to talk about what's going on in the market and to answer any questions so that if and when you have any real estate needs, you will refer our team and we'd be able to support you because we'd love that opportunity too. You can find us at www.friendonyourside.com or, of course, our business Facebook page, The Friend Team Real Estate. We would love to help you any way that we can. And if you have any other things that you'd like for us to talk about in future episodes of Friday with Friends, let us know.
Definitely comment, and we'd love to, help and really talk about what you guys want to hear about.
All right, thanks, guys. Bye.